All right. So I think we're going to go ahead and get started. For those of you that are new to the Earth Foundation, this is the home of the Earth Prize. It's the largest sustainability competition for young people aged 13 to 19. Our goal is to ensure not only that young people are innovators, but they have as many opportunities as possible to act for the planet. So we have Careers for the Planet, a new series that enables anyone who is in our network to learn from professionals more about their careers, what they're doing, how they're making an impact to hopefully inspire you for when you enter the workplace or if you are looking to maybe change your roles. That said, I'm going to introduce Sine Muller, who is with the Lego Group, and she's going to tell you a bit more about her career. I'll let you take it away.
Hi, everyone. Really excited to be here. I hope you can hear me properly. My name is Sina, and I am 55 years old, and I've been working for the Lego Group now for 30 years. So, pretty long career in the same company. Um, I haven't all the time worked in sustainability. And it would be really lovely to have some more people with camera on so that I'm not speaking to just pictures. So if you don't mind, that would be super cool. Um, hey everyone. It's good to see some faces. Um, no, so I'm of course here today to talk a little bit about career and my journey, which has not been a straight line to sustainability at all. Um, but my career has been driven by creation and creativity, and it now seems like the world and the planet needs more creativity than ever to solve some of the, vicious problems that we're sitting with. Um, So back in the day, I was very lucky to have parents who said, you can do exactly what you want. You don't have to go to university. You don't have to get, you go with your passion. What is your passion? Except my dad did want to marry me to marry a farmer because that would be very sensible, and then to become a lawyer. And I was like, no, I'm very good at sewing dresses and sewing little doll clothes for my sisters. I'm gonna go into fashion. And my mom and dad was like, fine, if that's what you don't want to do, go ahead. How do we make that happen for you? Um, so I went in and talked to people in fashion and went off and did internships for free to get into design school. And I went to Canada, I went to Asia, um, and ended up in a design school in Denmark. 4 years later, I applied. So the Lego group they were searching for a textile designer. I thought that is really weird that a plastic toy company needs a textile designer. But I didn't know what they were, cooking behind closed doors. So I applied and I brought my Barbie collection to the interview. And I thought, well, it's a toy company. You got to be a bit crazy. Um, so I actually sewed my application. I made it out of fabric and did like, yeah, just weird stuff because that's what you do in toys, right? Um, so I brought my Barbie collection and they hired me, and I thought, well, okay, fine. And first day at job, I always tell this story. I am The doors opened up, and I am in this room with all these Technique designer guys who's designing Technique cars and trucks, and I'm going, I think I'm in the wrong place. And then they take me through this department, and behind another closed door there was a big girls' project with doll houses and dolls with clothes that needed dressing. And I mean, it was heaven. And I thought, wow, you've hired me to build and create doll houses and dolls' clothes. You don't even have to pay me. I'll do this for free. So it was super secret. I couldn't talk about it for 3 years. So my grandmother thought I was selling ice cream in Legoland. Um, and It was just fantastic. I got to travel to Asia, to go to factories. I got to really get under the skin of how you do very particular high quality toys and all the engineering stuff. So I ended up kind of working as more of a textile engineer and designer in kind of in one job. And because I was young, I got to learn so much from my colleagues, and it was really a learning journey. And I think any first job is just there to teach us new stuff we haven't tried before. And then it is like a springboard or a stepping stone to other things. So I got really, really deep into design and engineering and production of, yes, it was dolls' clothes, it was tiny little things. Asia production, but for a very high quality brand. And in that in those first maybe 10, 15 years, I also tried leadership, and was, a team leader, and was asking if I could, take some courses in leadership. And I had some good mentors as well who were giving me the chance to actually lead a small team. And it's not that I was trained in leadership, but I just think it was a piece of kind of a natural thing to want to take charge of a project. So I would encourage anyone to say, well, you can train at school to be a leader, but I think you need some of it baked into you, that you want to take responsibility and you want to take action to to simply just try it out. Um, and it's good training to try to lead a team or to lead a project where there's people involved, because we are just humans and we behave in different ways. And then after many years in design leadership and project leadership, I got into partnerships. So I worked a lot in our licensing industry. So working with all the Lego movies, the entertainment companies, the I worked with Legoland Parks. I worked with so many different things, but it was all about teaching other people how to work with the Lego brand in the right way. What you can and cannot do, what we should and should not do, how you would design with it. And actually just teaching people good product development. And then suddenly one day, there was the first pieces of legislation coming in the EU to packaging demands. There was this, we got to get rid of single-use plastic. We got to change the packaging. We got to have smaller packaging. We needed to design for disassembly. And suddenly I just saw this need to say, hey, this is a new design challenge. This is just a new product development challenge. We have to change things in the world to secure that we are just designing in a different way, and we can influence the system in that sort of way. Um, and then I said to my boss, I think we need to help our dear partners and our dear suppliers, think about sustainability. I think we should write down some direction and some rules, and maybe we should create a strategy. I think that would be good. And he said, yeah, that's probably a good idea. If you create the strategy, we can pitch it to top leadership, and we can maybe get some money for doing strategy. And I said, I don't think it should be me doing it. I'm busy doing my day job. And he was like, well, maybe it's time for you to do something new, and maybe you should go into sustainability. And I was like, maybe I should. And then he said, I think that would be a great idea. And I said, well, if I'm going into sustainability, I know nothing about carbon. I know nothing about material science. I'm not a chemist. I'm not an engineer. I know an awful lot about textile and materials, and I know an awful lot of leadership and project management. And he was like, okay, what kind of education do you want? And I said, well, I think Cambridge University is offering some good courses, and I think I should do a master degree. And he was like, are you insane? I was like, yeah, my kids are adult. I have all this time. Um, I need a new challenge, and I need to learn something new in my life. I'm 45. It's time to learn something new. I could feel I kind of knew design too much and I needed to add something. And working at the Lego group, it's always kind of a learning journey. It's always been learning through life. It's always been that you could always learn something new, and that's what we've always been encouraged to do and educate ourselves. So I was like, of course I can do this. So off I went, created a strategy, and at the same time, I was doing the Cambridge master degree that I'm not even finished with yet, but I'm getting there. So I'm in the same situation as some of you guys, in the middle of education, maybe university, trying to figure out what to do with this new learning. But of course, I was lucky to put it into work in my job and actually work in a transformation role and do sustainability transformation. So that's where I am now, working with a team and build a new team of 30 people to do transformation. And recently, I've just transitioned into another role, working on the Lego Group circular business models. So, always trying to find, you know, what's around the corner where I could put my skills into. And if I don't have the skills, I will probably be able to learn it very fast. So a bit of a Pippi Longstocking attitude. I don't know if any of you know Pippi Longstocking. She's a Swedish girl that's very strong and I think she's maybe made out of imagination. But she says, I don't know how to do it, so I'll probably be really good at it. Um, and yeah, that's kind of the attitude. And of course, working at a toy company where creativity and where you've been allowed to think creatively has, of course, helped. And working with children and for children um, is of great purpose. But at the same time, this is also just a plastic factory making bricks out of plastic, which is a bit of a dilemma. And you probably have some questions to that. Um, that was kind of the quick version of how I got from that textile design into sustainability. And I'm not done with the journey yet. So still looking around the corner for what's next.
Thank you. So I'm going to ask all the young people to just write your questions down. We'll take them at after. One thing I was wondering, can you kind of show us, how is your career making an impact? What does sustainability look like at the
Yeah,
Lyft group?
yeah, I can. So I'm just going to share a few slides here. Let's see if I can figure out how to do that. Um, am I,
You should be co-host. Perfect.
is this working?
It's working.
All right. So this is just actually my headline for what I've been doing in the past couple of years, um, where I got to choose my own title as transformation director. I thought that was appropriate for someone who needs to go and help change other people's mindsets. And then I figured out also quite early that what is this all about? It's not about me becoming an expert. It's about embedding it into other people's brains and into their kind of making it easy for people, making it almost like a Lego building instruction, that easy to understand sustainability. Because sustainability is often a lot of blue slides and a lot of very heavy carbon conversation, very complex system thinking. So one of the things that we have done at the Lego Group and that I participated in, of course, because I'm part of the strategy team, is that we've said, well, we're going to focus our strategy on three things. So children, environment, and people. And I've luckily been able to work with all of these areas, mainly the environmental one, and of course, people. So the people that work together with me, so our partners, our suppliers, but also people working at the factories, right? Everybody should be treated fair and just, together with the environment. So one of the things that I have done, which I is together with a lot of other companies within this industry, we created a platform and a suggestion to the science-based target initiative of how we should calculate um, carbon within the licensing industry. So, when you go and buy a licensed product, um, that category, when a company like Disney or Lego has licensed product or video games or something that's not their core, it wasn't really clear how we were supposed to calculate our scope 3. So we went together with this group here called Products of Change, and everybody's participating. And we said, why don't we come up with an industry policy and give that as a suggestion to the World Resource Institute of saying this is how we recommend it could be done. And that I was leading and initiating together with yeah, a lady from Products of Change called Helena Stouffer, who's really, really driving impact within this industry. Um, One other thing that I figured out when I'm working with these external companies and big brands is that sustainability is all about driving transparency and collaboration. And so we set out, and that was probably me driving it and saying, you know what, let me just be honest with you of how this could be done. Um, so one of the things that we told our partners was to say, well, we have this big mountain of complexity that is sustainability. We could call it Mount Sustainability. And everybody has to get kind of on the other side of new materials, carbon calculations, carbon investment, solar power, renewable investment, all of these things needs to get done. And it's super complex. So how do we do this when we were saying Lego here? We could stand here with our contract and say, you got to do this or else we will not, da, 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 da. But we could also say, hey, why don't we help you? Why don't we create some guidelines? Why don't we create help? Why don't we set up consultancy? So if you're our partner or supplier, we'll help you. But you got to promise that you're going to go on this journey with us. So that was kind of the attitude because this was exactly the same thing I did with design of saying, I will help you understand how you design with Lego, how you do it right, how you always, you know, get it right when you work with this brand. And I didn't see sustainability as very much different. So I could definitely say, hey, dear partner, come along. Here are the guidelines I've created for you. So one of the first things we did was to simply create a small website and then create these booklets of very crisp guidelines to materials. We did a text, so of course I have a textile background, so I started with textile because we also do work with people with t-shirts and shoes, and we worked with paper in publishing. We worked with plastic in our core product, and we worked with electronics and chemistry. So there was taking some experts and putting people together and then creating some super concrete guidelines so that people knew how to design a more sustainable product. And if that was too difficult, I hired 10 people who then helped people go through that change. And of course, um, you know, then it becomes more about holding hands so that we lead this change together. And that's become my mantra in saying, we could move mountains, literally, not literally, but we could probably move mountains if we work together and if we collaborate. And in the world that we live in right now, I believe that is more true than ever. Um, we can't build walls. We need to build collaboration. Um, so I think let me see if there's a few other slides. So one of the things that I have been doing is also taking this message to conferences. And I've been speaking quite many times at Innovation Roundtable, which is a big corporate gathering, innovation forum where people come together and actually talk about change, talk about innovation, talk about sustainability. And there I'm talking about leadership and I'm talking about transformation. And for me, that has been super fun because it's been just as much a learning for me. And you can probably see here in the hand-drawn slide, what is it and I've been asked to give the same speak like 7 times. So there must be something we call that resonating with people in kind of a down to earth type of session. Let's see what else we have here. Yeah, and then of course, right now I'm in the middle of a master dissertation, so I'm working with our factory guys. I'm actually sitting at the Lego factory right now, and I've been working with the shop floor team all day to figure out, how do we actually make it easy, even at the shop floor, to work on sustainability and these reductions. So yeah. So that's kind of the slides I have. And I hope you have a lot of questions because I'm absolutely happy to share anything.